Here's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove Football Show. We've got NFL football kicking off tonight in just mere hours. We're going to talk about NFL Week 1. We'll give you our picks as well as advice for your survivor pool and the latest news. Plus, we look back at Week 1 of college football and ahead to Week 2. What have we learned? We will find out. That's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove Football Show. Welcome into an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Football Show on the Belly Up Sports Network, presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Join the flavor revolution at righteousfelon.com. Use the promo code STOVE15. You're going to get 15% off your purchase. We survived week 1 of college football, but now our hearts are pounding for NFL football, and it's here. And boy, can we hardly contain ourselves. I'm Vince Stover, joined as I am every week by my dad, Dale Stover. Dad, how you doing?
Doing great, boy. Football's starting tonight, so that's exciting. Like you said, college football, high school started a couple weeks ago, and had a good week of college football. But the NFL the last several years, you just don't know what's going to happen. So it'll be fun to watch that. And of course, I have a lot of high expectations for our team. So we'll see.
Yes, we will. I'm going to come back to that college football. You made a comment that I want to come back to, but we're going to start in the NFL. We're going to talk about games this week. Every single week when we come to the NFL games, me and Dad will pick 6 games, winners of 6 games. And we're also going to give you a survivor pick for your survivor pools to help you win those this year as well. We'll cover some news and things like that also. Real quick, Dad, in the news category of the NFL, Amari Cooper signs with the Raiders and then retires. He does not play a snap for Las Vegas. He says, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want to do this. So Amari Cooper retires on the eve of the NFL season. That was a little surprising. The Jets lose Elijah Vera Tucker on the offensive line. That's painful for many reasons, but mainly because I have Breece Hall in fantasy football, and I'd kind of like them to have their starting guard in place, but he's done for the season. A few other small injuries. I saw today Christian Kirk has a hamstring issue, probably won't play in week number 1. So that means that more rookie play in Houston with Jaden Noel with opportunity there too. But all that being said, what really matters is the games ahead. And, Dad, tonight it's the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And the one thing we know the Cowboys are going to do tonight, for sure, without a doubt, they're going to stop the run because Jerry Jones has sold out to make sure that they stop the run. So I'm guessing tonight Saquon Barkley rushes for 25 yards, and that's about it. We'll see how all that shakes out for sure. But, Dad, tonight, Dallas is 8.5-point underdogs, now. Eagles favored it at home. That number has gone up. It was at 7.5 earlier this week. And first game of the season, how do you expect this one to shake out with the Eagles and the Cowboys?
Well, I mean, I think, the Eagles, of course, sometimes, a team that wins a Super Bowl never know how they're going to do the next year. But this being a conference game and the rivalry game that it is, I mean, on paper, the Eagles seem to be the much better team, no doubt about that. It is true that Jerry Jones is going to stop the run, but I think Saquon will go ahead and dress anyhow. So we will see. But, I think the Eagles will be poised and ready to go at home. The Cowboys, I mean, to me, have kind of been in disarray all training camp, preseason, a lot of things that weren't settled. Then they trade arguably their best player away. We'll see how it goes. And you got a new coach. I don't know how he handles the players. I don't know if he has the pulse of everybody. In a perfect world, the Cowboys could come out really and play loose tonight because there's really nothing to lose. But first game of the year, a new coach, I don't think that's probably how it will go. So I definitely look for the Eagles to win and should win big.
Yeah, as a high school coach, my philosophy was always don't poke the bear. Don't give them any reason to be more excited than they'd already be. Don't give them any motivation on top of just the normal they're coming to play you. It's a division game. You shouldn't need to get fired up for it. It should already be fired up. Week number 1, game number 1. But the moment Jerry Jones made a big deal about stopping the run, all I could think about was Saquon Barkley running for 200 yards in the week of the season. And so, yeah, I'm going Eagles in this one too. It's at home, of course, as well. I don't think the talent gap is that massive between these two teams, but the Eagles have a solid defense, and they know who they are. There's no identity crisis in Philadelphia. And that being said, yeah, I think the Eagles will win this game pretty easily as well. So I'm going with you in that one for sure. All right, let's go next to another divisional matchup. And it's the Chargers and the Chiefs, but this one's in Brazil. And I'm curious, Dad, before we pick the game, how do you feel about a divisional matchup out of the country?
Well, I don't know if that's the best thing from there. One, just from a standpoint of the fans. When you have football fans and boy, they're excited about a division game. I'm not sure the NFL, I'm not sure that's the best thing. But again, I mean, the NFL is so popular now. I mean, it's not going to, I don't think they're worried about people's feelings, but I do think that is probably the downside from there. Now, I guess this was a Chargers home game, and the Chargers home crowd, I'm not sure they quite have that established yet. But starting out with a division game for the teams is not a bad thing because it gives you a chance to really get a jump on it. But this out of the country thing, we're gonna get used to that in the next year or two. 7 games this year, and their goal is to maybe have one every week. So that teams are going to adapt to that. I'm sure the NFL scheduling will adapt to that, and there'll be some kind of policy set. We talked before about international games. I think the biggest issue, and we'll see tomorrow night, can they get the field thing straightened out? Can they have good conditions over there? The field was not good in Sao Paulo last year, so it'll be interesting to see this year.
Yeah, I feel bad for the home team in a divisional matchup to not get the opportunity to host the team. Now you're going to travel to Kansas City later in the year, but you didn't get a legit home field advantage, whether or not they would have had one. They don't get the opportunity to have one with it being international. And I'm sure there will be maybe as many Chargers fans in Sao Paulo as there are in Los Angeles, quite honestly. So we will see. But this game, it's Friday night. And first of all, shout out to YouTube. Free for everyone on actual real YouTube to go out and watch this game. First time that's ever happened where people don't have to, illegally stream the game. So Chargers, technically the home team, they're a 3.5-point underdog hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. How do you see this one breaking down, Kansas City and the Chargers?
Well, I do. I've taken a lot of abuse in the last year on this show about my feelings about the Chargers because of the coach. But I do think the Chargers are going to be much better this year. But you made a statement about the last game. The Eagles, they know who they are. The Chiefs know who they are. They've got the coach. They've got the quarterback. They've got veterans. And I still think they're a very good team. I don't know that they're the favorite going in as they have been other years, but I would expect the Chiefs to be prepared. Andy Reid, again, I don't think playing out of the country, they'll be prepared for that. It could be a very good football game because I think the Chargers are going to be a very good team also and have a lot of talent. So I think this will be a good game. but I don't see any reason to pick against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I struggled. I wanted to pick the Chargers in this one, but they just don't have much at wide receiver. It's game number one. They got a rookie running back as the starter. There are just things still about this team that I think as the season goes on, they get better and better. But for week one, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, the last year ended with such a sour note for them. I don't see them coming out flat here to start the season. So I picked Kansas City as well in this one. We're right on board with that one. All right, next game we're picking is the Ravens and the Bills. Buffalo will be hosting this game, and it should be a really fun game, and I think a really good game as well. But Baltimore is the road favorite in this one. They're 1.5-point favorites. This has switched. Originally, the Bills were the favorites. Now the Ravens are 1.5-point favorites in Buffalo. This is the Sunday night game. So your thoughts, Dad, on Ravens and Bills and how that one shakes out?
Well, again, this should be a very good game. You got two really high-profile quarterbacks going against each other. We've talked about it. The Bills, need to have a good year. The Ravens just seem very solid. They're solid every year. They have solid coaching. And, I'm not surprised that the line flipped there. The Ravens should be ready to go. Again, it should be a very close game. Josh Allen, could make the difference. A defensive turnover for either team could make the difference. They both have pretty high-ranked defenses from what I've seen in the fantasy football world. So from there, so I think it'll be a good game. But I went with the Ravens on this one. Even before the line flipped.
Yeah, I went opposite. I went Bills. I mean, again, home makes a difference for me. The Ravens, my fear for the Ravens is they try to do too much in this first game. They went out and made some moves for pass catchers this offseason. What they are, though, is Derrick Henry running the football, Lamar Jackson getting some big plays, and then the occasional big play in the pass game. My fear is they try to come out and do a little too much in this week number one. I think it'll be the best game of the weekend. I think it'll be really tight. I think the atmosphere will be amazing. But I'm going with Buffalo at home in this one, so we'll be different in this game. Let's go to the Monday night game next, Bears and Vikings. Bears hosting. A lot of change this year. Bears have a new coaching staff. The Vikings have a new quarterback. And I guess which change is going to be the least, or maybe the most impactful, I guess, going into this week. So, Dad, the Bears at home are underdogs by 1.5 points. How do you sit with Vikings Bears?
Yeah, the Vikings. I picked the Vikings. One, it'd be hard for me to pick the Bears, but I think the Bears are going to come back down to reality here. They may have a good year and they may develop, but it's the first game of the year. I think there are a lot of adjustments, and I think the difference will be the Vikings defense. Vikings is very strong on defense. They have a defensive coordinator, that has played against the head coach over there before. And I think, Williams will have all kinds of trouble with the defense. Now, will it be a high-scoring game? I don't know, because the Vikings quarterback is brand new too. But again, we know the Vikings have a very good coach. He knows all this coming in. So I think it'll be, you always say the best friend of a quarterback is the tight end. I think that'll be a big difference here with the Vikings. They have a good tight end. They don't have all their receivers that they will have. They have a couple good running backs, but I think the deal will be the defense keeping the Bears in check, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So, again, the Vikings and the Bears, if it could be a 0-0 tie, I'd be very happy, but that won't happen. So I will pick the Vikings, and we'll see. The Bears will be in euphoria if they come out and win this one. They're at home. Everything, everything in the Bear world has been, this is it. We're headed the right direction. So if they lose, this will be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking the Bears because I've said it all along. Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy's not it. Justin Jefferson, he's not 100% healthy. Adam Thielen's been back for a week. Jordan Addison's suspended. All their backups are hurt. So you've got to count on all your starters, and you got to hope that Justin Jefferson's healthy enough. Hawkinson, yes, is important. He'll be good. The Vikings won't be horrendous, I don't think. And I think you're right as far as your mindset of the defense could make the difference here for the Vikings. I would agree with that. But I'm going with the Bears. You get an opportunity. Not only has Flores been the defensive coordinator against Ben Johnson, Ben Johnson has been the offensive coordinator against Flores. So it goes both ways with that. There's so much talent in Chicago. If you put the same talent in Minnesota, I'm definitely picking Minnesota. But the fact that you've got 3 receivers, you've got 2 tight ends in Chicago, and DeAndre Swift at running back, and I think their defense has gotten better in Chicago as well this year. So I don't think it'll be a blowout. I don't think it'll be pretty, but I think that the Bears win this game, and I don't think either team walks away from this game going, yeah, we're Super Bowl contenders. But I do think that the winner of this game is thankful to get a division win and excited for that one game heads up on whoever they loses today. So I'm going Bears in this one. I'm pretty dogmatic that the Vikings will be the worst team in the division. And if I believe that, then I can't believe they win in Chicago in week 1. So I'm going Chicago in this one. All right, let's go to the Packers next. Another NFC North game. Packers are hosting the Lions. And this is going to be, I think, a really good game, just like that Bills and Ravens game. You got 2 teams that are, I think, clearly on top of the division. I think the Bears and the Vikings are clearly behind the Packers and the Lions. The questions loom with some injury issues in Green Bay, some injured receivers. Micah Parsons has only been there for a week, so how does that fit in? How does he play? How does he do? All that good stuff. The Lions have changes, losing both of their coordinators in the offseason, but they maintain the talent. They have the same players. You still have Jared Goff. You still have a 2-headed monster at running back, and you still have 2 really good receivers and a really good tight end. And so, Dad, I think this is going to be a close one. So does Vegas. They have Packers at home as a 1.5-point favorite now. Who do you have in this game and why?
Well, obviously, I'm picking the Packers. I think, again, being at home should be an advantage. The Lions have had some changes. The Packers, the issue with the Packers, and I've, keep up with it pretty closely, really is the injuries. At this point, we don't really know. Is the offensive line healthy? Who's going to start on the offensive line? Will the center be able to play the whole game? If the offensive line comes out and plays, gives Jordan Love time, I don't think the thumb is going to be too big of an issue. There's talk about, it'll change a little bit because he hasn't been handing off with the other hand and whatever the case may be. But again, if the offensive line can protect him, plus you've got, Josh Jacobs, the Lions have a good team. They have had some changes. Hutchinson's back. How healthy is he? How much will he be like he used to be? Parsons is going to be real interesting. If anything, he may be in the head of the Lions from there. I don't know how much he'll play. He may play quite a bit. But if he comes out, makes a splash play early, then look out, because that's going to really open it up for the rest of the defense from there. But the young Packers are again, still the youngest team in the NFL, very hungry. But I think we're poised to have a good year. And being the games at home, I think we have a chance. It'd be close. Luckily, unlike the last 2 years, we do have a field goal kicker. So if it comes down to that, we should be in good shape. So.
Yeah, home is what makes the difference for me. I would pick Detroit if it was in Detroit, but it is in Green Bay, so I'm going to go with the Packers in this one too. Micah Parsons said it this week. Any team I've been on has had an all-pro cornerback. He said, I make their life a lot easier. I get them paid. So I'm going to get to the quarterback. The quarterback's going to have to throw the ball faster, and that's going to help the defensive backs. My concern about Green Bay is very simple. They're the big plays. And Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown can make big plays. And the Packers defensive backs last year, third worst in the league at giving up the big play. And so if Parsons and Gary can get to the quarterback, that's going to help eliminate some of that. But if Jared Goff has time to set up and throw deep, the Packers could be in trouble. So that being said, it is at home. So I'm going with Green Bay. I think their defense improved last year, and I think it got better this year. I think the offense will be just fine. Offensive line's a big thing for sure. They need to be healthy. They need to stay healthy. But outside of Aiden Hutchinson, I'm not too concerned about the pass rush. And now you could have all these options for Jordan Love to find underneath, as well as take some big shots down the field. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see who pops for the Packers. Does Matthew Golden have a massive game in week one? It's very possible. But that being said, home game for Green Bay. I go with the Packers for that reason. And I think it will be a really, really good game, though. All right, Dad, the last game we're picking is the Battle of Aaron Rodgers. His old team, the New York Football Jets, are hosting his new team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are 2.5-point favorites on the road in this game. And so I should have said it's the battle of Justin Fields because it's his former team too. So quarterback trade for all practical purposes. Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers. A lot of things to like about these teams and some things to definitely dislike about these teams. So, Dad, I'm intrigued to see where you go with this one. Pittsburgh traveling to the New York Football Jets. How do you feel?
Well, I'll be interested to pay attention to this one to see Aaron Rodgers, see how he comes out, how well everything is adapted there. The Jets, again, the preseason game I saw the Jets, I was very impressed with the coach, with the energy. Again, he's a defensive coach. The Jets have a good defense. Again, this is a home game for the Jets. They've got everything to be excited about. Aaron Rodgers coming back there. Justin Fields, we've talked about this. I like Justin Fields. We'll see. Can he handle himself in this type of game? I'm going to pick the Jets because they're at home, and I think if they can get a lead, get rolling, then I don't know what the Steelers team is going to be from there. We know they'll have a fairly good defense, but again, there are some weapons over on the Jets side with Wilson. And they've got the young tight end who could be really good, and so we'll see. There was a little bit of a blow to the offensive line, like you said, there. So we will see. I'm going to pick the Jets because they're at home, and can't say I'm real big about Aaron Rodgers starting out with a win, but I will be interested to see how he plays and how the Steelers, are set up.
Yeah, for me, it's Aaron Glenn home, game one under the Aaron Glenn regime. I think Breece Hall is going to have a massive game for the Jets. I think Fields is going to be put in a place to succeed. I think they're going to use his legs, let him run a little bit as well. The Steelers are just a little bit of a hodgepodge this offseason. Some veterans brought in, some interesting personalities, all that good stuff. I just think it takes time for that to come together, even though there's a lot of veterans. So for that reason, I'm going Jets in this one. I'm with you. I think the coaching mindset that's there has got this team in a good spot. And I think they'll just be safe on offense, and I think they'll be very good on defense. And so for that reason, I'm going with the Jets in this game. So there's our 6 picks this week. Me and Dad agree on Eagles over Cowboys, Chiefs over Chargers, Packers over Lions, and Jets over Steelers. And then we're split. Dad takes the Ravens, I take the Bills, and Dad takes the Vikings, I take the Bears. That's our pick 6 this week. And Dad, let's look at the other games that we did not pick this week. We'll run through these quickly, at least attempt to. Buccaneers and Falcons, another divisional game. A lot of division games this week. Tampa Bay, 1.5-point favorites on the road. I lean towards Tampa in this one, Dad, but there's something about Atlanta that makes me think, man, if it just clicks for them, they're going to be so dangerous. Tampa's the reigning division champs. I expect them to win this game, but I think we're going to learn a lot about the Falcons here in week 1.
Yeah, I agree with Tampa Bay. I think that's it. Again, it's at Atlanta. And, of course, it's going to be interesting to see how Penix does. So we will see from there. But, I think Tampa Bay, if they're going to dominate the division like they could, then this is the place to start.
I like it. All right, Bengals are traveling up to Cleveland, a battle of elite quarterbacks in Joe Burrow and Joe Flacco. I think this is a pretty easy one. I'm going Cincinnati, even though their defense isn't great. And Cleveland has some really good defense there as well. But I'm going to go Bengals pretty easily in this one.
Yeah, I'm with the Bengals on this one too. And again, they need this after the start they had last year. And I think they'll be ready to go.
Miami travels to Indianapolis. The Colts are a 1.5-point favorite. Everyone's dogging Danny Dimes. I'm going with the Colts in this one, Dad. I don't trust Miami, and they've got some major health concerns as well. So I'm going to go with a surprise one here, I think, with the Colts, and just trust that they do just enough to win this game.
Yeah, I don't know. This will kind of be a close one there. I think Miami may be okay. And so I would probably pick Miami. But again, we've talked about it. Things could implode there. And we'll see. Of course, you got Taylor, which is always great with the Colts. And I think both these coaches are on the hot seat a little bit.
All right. Las Vegas travels to New England. Patriots 2.5-point favorites in this one. Dad, this one is a hard one for me to pick. I think that you look at both of these teams have really good rookie running backs. You've got the Vegas as a new coach and a new quarterback. They've got some weapons. Do they have enough is the question mark. New England still, though, I trust them more in 2 to 3 weeks when they've had a little bit more time than I trust them now. They're at home, so I'm going to go New England, but this one, if I had to put money on, I would not pick this game. How do you feel about Vegas and New England?
Yeah, this will be kind of a fun game to watch, and it'll be fun for fantasy football fans because there's some guys on both these teams that come into play here. But I'll go with the Patriots just because they're at home, and we will see. With the new coach and with Drake May, we'll see how he comes out and does it. Like you said, 2 really good running backs, so this could be quite a show.
Agreed. All right. Cardinals travel to New Orleans. If New Orleans wins more than 2 games, I'll be shocked. So give me Arizona in this one. How do you feel about Cardinals and Saints?
Again, the Cardinals should be able to handle this. And, we're expecting them in some ways to be better. So, if Murray can stay healthy and definitely think, the Cardinals, the Saints, it's going to take a while. Could be a tough year. So I'd pick the Cardinals.
All right. Giants and Commanders. I go Commanders. I think the Giants, this is a game, though, you got to watch out for. It's a division game. No expectation on the Giants. High expectation on the Commanders. I'm still going Commanders, but I would not be shocked if we get to Sunday afternoon and the Giants have pulled an upset here. But I don't think Dan Quinn will let the team underestimate New York. So I'm going to go Washington.
Yeah, I'll go with Washington. I think they have a chance to have a very good year. But like you said, anytime it's a division game, you just never know.
Battle of the Kitties down in Jacksonville. Panthers versus Jaguars. Jags only a 3.5-point favorite. I think the Jags are going to be a lot better than people think. And I think it's going to take time for the Panthers to get their rookies on board. So I'm going to go Jacksonville at home over Carolina.
Yeah, I think both teams will be better this year. I hope so. But yeah, Jacksonville at home, they should be further along. And I hope, Trevor Lawrence can rebound and have a good game.
Tennessee travels to Denver. While I think Denver is a little overhyped this year, I think they're better than the Titans. So I'm going Denver at home. It'll be fun to watch Cam Ward in his first NFL game and to see how Bo Nix starts off his sophomore season as well. But I've got Denver in this one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would go with Denver also. And it will be interesting to see, with Cam Ward and how things go there. Several players on Denver, I'm interested to see how they do. Again, Bo Nix in his second year, anxious to see how Harvey does as a running back and stuff like that.
San Francisco travels north to Seattle. Everyone says, well, the 49ers defense is so good, they're going to win this game. I don't care. Sam Darnold is getting so much disrespect. I think JSN becomes a top-tier wide receiver this season. Give me Seattle at home over San Francisco. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I would agree with this with Seattle. I think it's going to be tough there, and I think the Seahawks should be able to handle that. I think it's going to be a tough year for
San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah. But we'll see. Brock Purdy may prove us wrong this year, but we'll see.
And they got so many injury issues, too. It's not just a knock on the 49ers. To me, it's more of a let everyone know Seattle's going to be good again this year. Last game is Houston traveling to Los Angeles against the Rams. The Rams, 3.5-point favorites. Dad, I think C.J. Stroud has a bounce-back season. I think Stafford is just not healthy. And for that reason, I'm going Houston in this game on the road in Los Angeles. How about you?
This should be a very good game. Again, I hope Houston bounces back also. But again, I feel a lot different about the Rams than you do. I think they could be very, very good. But I will go with Houston on this. Hopefully they'll come out and, be ready to go. And hopefully, I'd like to see Nick Chubb have a good bounce back, and we'll see how that goes.
All right, very good. All right, so we're going to give you survivor pick advice every single week. If you're in a survivor pool, you're looking for that team that you can get the win this week. And so, Dad, who's the team that you say the safest survivor pick, or who would you pick in a survivor poll this week?
Well, I'm going to go with a road team, but I just have a feeling as I looked at all of it, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is a safe pick. With Atlanta, and I'm going to go with your boy Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I feel there's safer picks this week. I'm going Arizona as they travel to New Orleans. I don't think Spencer Rattler is going to be the answer. So I'm going to go Arizona. I think they're the safest pick this week. Tampa Bay, although I picked them to win, that one would scare me, Dad. Going division games scare me. I'm always afraid of division games. And you're talking about a road division game on top of that. So that's a bold take there. But, I'm on the Baker train. So I can't argue with it too much. All right, let's transition over. Oh, by the way, our survivor picks this year are presented by Righteous Felons Soul Survivor Flavored Jerky, a Korean barbecue and flavored jerky. You can find it at righteousfelon.com. If you use the promo code STOVE15, you get 15% off your purchase. Good luck in your survivor pools this season. All right, Dad, let's transition to college football. And I want to start with, some of these. What did we learn in week one of the college football season? Because we've got Florida State that beat Alabama. Does that mean Alabama stinks and Florida State's great? Does it mean anything? You had Arch Manning look just not very good at all against Ohio State. So what does that mean? Is Arch Manning a bust? I looked at the week of college football, Dad, and I learned very, very little from this week. The Texas defense was outstanding against Ohio State, but the offense didn't put up any points. I think that will change over time. So I don't think we've seen who Texas is yet. Ohio State, kind of the same way. Their offense wasn't that great. And so we had drops by what most consider to be the best player in college football. The new quarterback was fine, but at the end of the day, they only scored 14. So do we know who Ohio State is yet? I don't think so. Clemson and LSU, again, I think we do know that LSU is very good. Maybe we learned that for sure. I don't count Clemson out yet, though. I don't think we learned a whole lot about Clemson just yet. Alabama and Florida State, Dad, I don't know what to think about that one. I have a hard time putting all my chips in the Florida State basket, and I think that Alabama is still a 3 or 4 loss team, which is what we expected coming into the season. So for me, I learned very little in college football this week. What about you? What did you learn this week, if anything?
I mean, I agree with, really all your observations on that. This week is a much more full week in the schedule. So, we will see with some teams there. I do think Florida State has improved. I don't think they're national champions, but I do think it showed us a good team. Alabama, I don't know. I mean, they're not going to be terrible, I don't think, but this was not the start they needed. They're going to need to rebound. So we will see how they go. Arch Manning, I'm not worried about him. I think he will rebound and do okay. Again, Ohio State's a very good team. It was on the road from there. So I think Ohio State did what they needed to do. And, so we'll see. LSU, that game probably surprised me a little bit, but LSU is really good. And Clemson, again, should be a good team also.
Yeah, and I should mention Miami and Notre Dame also. I think they're both really good teams. Miami's probably better than I gave them credit for with Carson Beck. I just didn't trust it. And so maybe we learned a little bit about Miami as well. But I'm not ready to go all in on any of these teams just yet and or go all out on any of these teams just yet as well. Dad, you made a comment when we came on the air, and you said we had a good weekend of football last week. And I don't think we did. I didn't think the football was that fun last week. I thought it was football, so that aspect was good. But I thought most of the games, I would say Clemson, LSU, and Notre Dame, Miami were relatively entertaining. But I really felt like the Texas-Ohio State game was boring. The FSU-Alabama game, if it wasn't for the upset, the game itself I didn't think was that great. So I didn't think we had great football this weekend. I was glad to have it back, but when I looked at it, I didn't think it was that good. I don't know. What did you think about the product that was on the field this past weekend?
Yeah, like I said, we were back to having football, and so I think that was good from there. And we'll just see. We'll see what we got this week.
All right. Is there any teams that you have a boosted confidence in? Like for me, it's LSU, a little bit of a boost in confidence in them after this week. Is there a team that you say, boy, after this weekend, I feel better about them than I did going into the weekend?
Well, one was South Carolina. I'm, impressed with them. We thought they were going to do well, and I thought they played very, very well. I could see them being doing good. And another team who's been good the last few years, and again, maybe they look good because of who they played, but it was TCU. TCU put up a lot of points on North Carolina, and we'll just see. We'll see if TCU will be a factor in their conference. So South Carolina and TCU both, I'm interested to watch them going forward.
Yeah, I was really happy with Tennessee this week too, Dad. Watching the quarterback play They had consistency with the run game, really good run game. And Joey Aguilar, he looked the part. And that was kind of my big question mark with Tennessee coming into the season, was the quarterback situation. I'm more confident now than I was going into last weekend with Tennessee football this year too. So that's another team I have. All right, Dad, let's get into our picks. We got 5 games to pick for college football. First game is Virginia versus North Carolina State. North Carolina State is a 2.5-point favorite at home in this game. And I'm going Virginia in this game, Dad. I think they looked good in week 1 also, and I like what they can do. I think they get the win on the road against the Wolfpack. How do you feel about Virginia and NC State?
Yeah, I mean, you've talked me up a lot with Virginia, so I'll go with them. And again, we had one of their players on, so we're interested in that. And I don't think NC State is dominant, so yeah, I'd be good with Virginia winning this one.
All right, Iowa at Iowa State, the interstate game. Iowa State is 3.5-point favorites in this one. You going with the Hawkeyes or the Cyclones this week?
I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes with the Big Ten team. This is always a big rivalry game, so you never kind of know how it's going to go. But, I'm for Iowa probably more, and so I'll pick the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I'll go opposite on you this one. I'll go Iowa State in this game here. Michigan at Oklahoma. This is a massive game. A big game for Bryce Underwood, the freshman quarterback at Michigan. A big game for the coaching staff at Oklahoma and John Mateer, who looked really good last week, even though the opponent wasn't that great. This is a big one, though. Probably the best game of the week, I think. Michigan at Oklahoma. Dad, you going with Wolverines or Boomer Sooner?
Yeah, this will be a fun game to watch. It is big for both teams. This was interesting when I looked at it on the schedule, with Oklahoma being new in the SEC, playing a Big Ten team like this, but I think that's good. But I'm Boomer Sooner all the way on this one, and it'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going Oklahoma just based off of experience at quarterback. I think Bryce Underwood looked good last week, but he's not been to Norman yet. He's not experienced that atmosphere yet. And it's different being on the field versus on the sideline or in the stands. So I'm going to go Oklahoma in this one. Massive, massive game, though, for sure. And then another game that has a lot of hate that I don't know that people realize how much hatred between these two teams, Kansas and Missouri. And Kansas has gotten better at football, obviously, over the last several years. They have an experienced quarterback, too. Dad, are you going with Kansas or Mizzou in this game?
Yeah, this is an interesting game with these two teams. Win will be big for both of them, but I'll go with Missouri in this one. They seem to have gotten better as time goes on. Kansas has too, but being at home, I'll go with the Tigers.
Yeah, I hate to do it, but I'm going to agree with you on this one too. I picked Missouri in this game. They're 6.5-point favorites at home. That our final game of the week, we travel to the Conference USA. Western Kentucky versus Toledo. Toledo, 6.5-point favorites in this game. Who are you picking against with Western Kentucky and Toledo?
Well, I looked into this one a little bit, and at first I thought, well, Toledo's gotten better, but as I looked at the scores and everything, Western Kentucky has become a very good football team. They've been able to, recruit, get good players and everything there. So I'll go with Western Kentucky in this one, even though that would be an upset a little bit at Toledo.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the number. It's actually up to 7.5 now for Toledo, the MAC team. But I'm going Western too. I think their coaching staff and what they've done so far this season, they've already played 2 games. They're 2-0. compared to Toledo's one game. And I think that Western can take out Toledo here. Be a big win for Western if they do. They've got one of the more fun mascots in the nation. And when they put that on their helmet, makes it even better. So I'll take the Hilltoppers over Toledo in this game as well. All right, Dad, you said you had a question for me, a college football question. So let's have at it.
Yeah, there was an upset that really kind of caught my eye this past week, and that was Army losing to Tarleton State. And I know you know a little bit about Tarleton State because you covered EKU, and I think that was a conference team. I know they played them regularly. Yes. So is Tarleton State a team that, is better than people thought they were and have more talent than they thought? Or is Army just in for a down year?
Probably both, to be quite honest with you. Tarleton State, they're in Texas, for those who don't know, and there's a lot of talent in Texas. And so even the smaller schools have the opportunity to land some pretty big talent along with them. And they have been a team that has been consistently good. I don't know. I'm looking right now to see their running back. In the past, they had a running back that was ridiculously good. He is not there anymore. But they've got a two-headed monster right now with one running back averaging 8.9 yards per carry, the other 5.1 yards per carry. Tarleton State, all you have to do is stop the run. And so far, the teams have not been able to do that. Their quarterback, who has been around, Victor Gabales, he's started off the season pretty decent. I'm not scared of him. That being said, you got to stop the run game when you're playing Tarleton State. And like neither team they've played so far this season has been able to do that. I think Army's probably down a little bit as well, but Tarleton's a solid team. And the teams in that conference, in the United American Conference, I believe is what it's called now, the UAC, those teams are better. They tried to move up. They were trying to be FBS teams as a conference, and it got denied. But they've got some teams in the conference that are good and are very good. As a matter of fact, several of the teams have recently moved up to Conference USA, like Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State has moved up as well. And so those are the kind of things you have to look for when you're looking at these teams. I think that Tarleton's very good, but I also think that, Army's probably not what they were at the same time as well. But well coached, good team, and definitely a team to keep an eye on at that FCS level this season as well. All right, Dad, anything else you want to cover or discuss?
Yeah, no, I think we're good. Again, it's exciting. Just a little bit, we'll be watching pro football, and that will be fun there. Of course, fantasy football, fantasy drafts are done now. So I'll be anxious to start keeping up with that. I'm in more leagues than I've been before. My head's swimming, so I'm anxious to get a handle on that in a week or so. So we will see.
Yeah, make sure your leagues are set, your rosters are set for tonight. Anybody that's playing tonight, Eagles or Cowboys on your team, make sure they're in your lineup so you're ready to go for that. Every Tuesday night, the Belly Up Fantasy Live Football Show goes live on the Belly Up social media sites, and then afterwards is available on the Belly Up YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts. The Belly Up Fantasy Live Football Show podcast is available as well, with great advice along the way. Kevin Wilson and Brian Germanaro do a great job there, and so make sure you tune into that. Follow us on social media at Sports Stove. We'll have plenty of comments going up throughout the week of football this week as well. Lots of content dropping these days. We're in the fantasy baseball playoffs. We talk about that on Sunday nights, and every Thursday night, me and Dad will be here to get you ready for the football weekend every single time. Of course, we couldn't do it without Righteous Felon Jerky in our pocket. So make sure you go to righteousfelon.com. Use the promo code STOVE15 to get 15% off your purchase each and every time. All right. It's time for football. I hope that you enjoy your weekend of the NFL and the college football slate, because it's going to be a fun one, I believe. He's Dale Stover. I am Vince Stover. Thank you for tuning into this edition of the Sports Stove Football Show. Until next time, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.